Hi everybody! How you doing today? You know, it's kind of weird for me because yesterday was Mother's Day. And Father's Day is coming up. And they're not really hard times of the year for me. They're just not dates holidays or whatever you want to call them. They're not occasions that I enjoy. Because I don't really have good memories with them. I mean, we're supposed to honor our parents, and we're supposed to give thanks for them being there and being there for us. And while my mother would never have won Mother of the Year, she couldn't have even won Mother of the Day. She did the best she could with what she had to work with. I'm not going to say I was the easiest kid to get along with because, well, frankly, I wasn't. When I was 8, I set the kitchen floor on fire with fireworks. Yes, dumbass me, set fireworks off in the house. Almost burned down the apartment building. When I was 6 or 7, I set a dumpster on fire behind another apartment building. Got mad at somebody, broke a sliding glass door at an apartment building in the game room when I was about 7. Now, I wasn't an easy child to deal with. But I never really stole anything. I never really did anything serious. Not criminally, anyways. But my mother generally worked nights, so she wasn't around all the time. And when she was around, she really tried to overcompensate. And as I got older and as she got older, she got more clingy. Didn't want to let me go, didn't want to let me grow up, didn't want to let me have a life, didn't want to let me have a girlfriend. It wasn't until much later in life when I was in my 30s and decided I was going to honor a promise I'd made her when I was young, that I would never put her in a nursing home, and I moved her in to live with me so I could take care of her, that I realized just how bad it was, because if I went on a date, she would call me while I was on that date, knowing that I couldn't turn my phone off because of my job. That's pretty damn clingy. I mean, she did these things to push women away. My father, dad, whatever you want to call him, was no better, no prize. Wasn't until my grandfather's funeral, my mother's father, I think I was 27 or 28, and my legal dad showed up at the funeral because he respected my grandfather. And he wanted to pay his respects. Well, he showed up, and as typical, I was getting the cold shoulder from my aunt and uncle and my cousins, and the niceties and platitudes were just driving me insane because I don't like fake people, and they were very fake. They still are. In fact, I haven't talked to any of them since the funeral. It's been a lot of years. But I don't remember ever being so verbally mean to someone as I was to my legal dad at that point in time. I laid into him my entire life worth of anger and hostility in about 3 hours. My mother said it was the first time she'd ever seen that man break down in tears. I left him bawling. And he spent the rest of his life trying to make up for it. I have to give him that. But the reality is, he wasn't my father. He was just the man who chose to give me his name. My biological father, I have tried to reach out to him. He wants nothing to do with me. I've talked about this before. But Mother's Day and Father's Day makes me think of it. It also makes me think of the people who were more parents to me than my own biological or legal parents ever were or ever could be. I mean, first off, my top of my head is Mom and Dad in Reno. I met them my second or third day of high school, maybe my fourth, I don't remember exactly, freshman year. And I still talk to them to this day. I consider them more my parents than my own parents. I talk to them more than I talk to my best friend from high school, who I'm still friends with. He's just too lazy to contact me, so I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of constantly trying to reach out to you. If you don't want to reach out to me, fuck you. You know where I am. You know how to get a hold of me. You come to me. I talk to his little brother once in a while, who I consider a little brother. I've watched him grow up. He's grown up into a great, wonderful man. In some ways, I wish I was half the man he was. I know I'm as smart as he ever was. But he's doing good for himself. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got it screwed on straight, and he's doing all right. Mom and Dad, I love you to death. I always will. And I can never repay you for the things you've taught me over the years, most of which you taught me without ever actually teaching me. Then there's my Uncle Richard, who I owe him a lot. He was more of a dad sometimes than a lot of other people were. Richard's shortcomings were he was a geek, he was a nerd. Hell, he was into geology. You know, and that's how his mind works. But he taught me things like it's okay to be smart. It's okay to be cool. It's okay to be goofy. Just be yourself. People will like you. And no matter how hard life gets, no matter how bad things may seem at the moment, just keep positive, keep chugging away. They will work out. Then there's Richard Horning, who's no longer around. He taught me how to be a man, accept ownership of what I do wrong. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all human. Unfortunately, I can never tell Richard how much he meant to me because he's no longer here. Then there's Sissy. Now it's funny, Sissy's barely 10 years older than me. I call her Mom. I think of her as a mom. And I met her in a truck stop almost 20 years ago. We laugh about that sometimes. It's been a long time, but we've been friends ever since. And I wouldn't trade any of them for the world. Because they've all taught me things differently. They've all taught me different things, and they've all helped make me who I am today. See, I may look like a dirty, nasty biker, but I'm really not. I'm a nice guy. Most people will tell you that. But then they'll also tell you that they're scared to death to find me in a dark alley. Because you really don't want to piss me off. But I learned something from all of them. And I learned how to, despite my not by legal or not biological parents' faults, I learned how to accept that they are who they are and they're going to make the mistakes they make. And I forgive them for what they did or didn't do. And I'm working on forgetting and letting go of it. And for the most part I have. I've gotten over a lot of it. Because the one thing that all of those other people in my life that I consider more parents than my own parents, the one thing they all taught me was, ain't worth it to be angry at all these people. You really can't. Just doesn't do you any good. So I've learned to let it go. I've learned to get rid of it. Sometimes I have to work on it. Mother's Day, Father's Day are days that I really have to work on it. But of course then my daughter's birthday comes along and then I have to deal with the fact that my own shortcomings as a parent. But at the same time, like my daughter likes to remind me, I didn't have a choice. I wasn't given a choice. She was ripped away from me and I was kept from her her entire life. And my son, I never knew he existed until a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And now it's a question of, does he want anything to do with me? Is there anything I can teach him? I hope so. On both of those questions. I hope I can teach my daughter some things. I hope I can help her with her children. We'll see. But to all you mothers and fathers who are parents to children that you don't have to be children to, God bless you. I love you for it. And you are the best kind of parents because you're parents because you choose to be, not because you have to be. And as for those parents that are reluctantly parents, step back. Think about your childhood. Was it a happy one? Was it a good one? If it was, you need to do your damnedest to make sure your kids have that same possibility. If it wasn't, then you need to figure out why, and try to help them have a good life. You got to stop it. Children learn by what they see and what they feel and what they hear, not what you say. You can tell them till you're blue in the face to do A, B, C. They're going to do X, Y, Z if that's what they see you doing. So if you want them to know how to do A, B, C, show them how to do A, B, C. God bless you. Talk to you soon. Peace out.